Hello again. This is the Nerd.
And this is the princess.
Welcome to the Nerd and the Princess podcast. And
The
today,
princess and the
the
nerd.
Princess and the Nerd. I am sorry, though. I am
The
sorry.
princess is
The
first.
Princess is for hey
It's a royalty.
royalty.
Yeah,
I love you.
I love you too.
But today we got our last night we saw,
Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken.
and honestly, I thought it was gonna be a lot worse.
I did too. Like, the poor movie has made next to nothing. Only
Like
like 40 million.
God, and they had a budget of what, like 100 million, and then
It wasn't. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up because that's going to bug me. But it did not do good.
no, it did horribly. Um, you can blame the commercials for that. The commercials misrepresented the hell out of that movie. Um,
The budget was 70 million.
well, the budget was
So
70.
yeah,
70
so
wasn't that much, at least.
yeah.
At least they were smart enough to not do that. And I would say that the ads, there were plenty of ads, so I would say, yeah, it's well under what it needed to make, which is about
Oh
400 million. But
yeah, it's probably not going to even break its production budget.
I mean, it's already out of theaters,
I know
so
because we watched it at home.
But overall, one of the biggest issues with it is just how safe the movie plays it.
Yeah, it was very predictable.
Incredibly predictable. It's like, don't watch this movie trying to expect something unexpected. This is as predictable as a middle-aged white woman drinking wine. Like, it is in
It's as predictable as me.
love.
I
You don't drink wine.
do sometimes.
Rarely.
Yeah, but I enjoy my wine.
We don't even have any wine in the fridge
Yes.
right now.
Well, we have wine in the house.
I cook with that.
No, we have other wine in the house. Don't listen to him. I know where the wine is.
You know where the wine is.
But
I should probably
anyways,
turn that down because that's starting to hit the red. I turned it up because I thought I couldn't be heard, but no. Okay, that's she bit me.
yeah, it happens. Um, I mean, I think it would be. I think like
Yes, definitely.
kids will enjoy it, especially girls. I
Yeah,
mean, there is a mermaid in it. Like, I
but
mean,
when we say kids, we definitely don't mean like teenagers. We're
yeah, no
definitely not
kids,
teenagers.
elementary school age
This
kids.
is what, like, the way her high school work is what elementary school kids think high school works like.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
this is not for actual high schoolers because it's not that deep. And honestly, that's what bothers me the most about it. Like, it has a premise, and it was made by DreamWorks, so it should be a lot deeper than it is.
Yeah.
But it's not. It has its moments. Like that scene where her mom is calming her down because she just turned into a kraken.
Yeah, was very touching. I
Almost.
almost cried.
Like, it has its moments. You can tell there's something there. It has some of that DreamWorks heart, but
Yeah.
it's trapped inside a
It just
bubble of safety.
yeah, it just kind of fell flat. Like it was good. I mean, it wasn't great. Like I
No,
don't know.
honestly,
I might rewatch it at some point, like if I'm in the mood for just something
on in the background.
cute. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would definitely like won't just sit down and dive deep into Ruby Gillman,
and
but
and one of the problems is another problem is his characterization. Ruby gets Ruby is characterized, yes. However, it's not by much.
yeah.
Like, she is, even though she turns into the giant kraken, which only the women in their family can do. Make of that what you will. Um, I mean, my only problem with it there is that they
You got
don't.
the turning red effect.
Yeah, but with turning red, it just comes from her side of the family.
Yeah.
Um, with Ruby Gillman, which it feels like they were trying to copy Turning Red
Yeah,
somewhat.
it does.
Um, with Ruby Gillman, it just straight up said like, "Oh, she has a little brother, but he'll never be able to turn into a giant kraken because
Yeah.
he's not a woman in the family." It was like,
Yeah, and I kind of felt bad for her uncle because he's kind of like pushed to the side
I know.
because he's a man.
Up until the end, where
Yeah.
yeah,
Finally, grandmama.
Grandmama gives him his time, but they keep making a point of it. Like, oh yeah, it's only the women. It's only the women. I was like, you don't have. You told us that like twice already. What you telling us a third time? It's like you don't believe we're listening.
Right.
Again, meant for small kids
Yeah.
who might not have been listening.
Right.
um, the character of the mom is predictable. She,
Yeah.
I was really hoping that they give her like a better reason for why she left the ocean in the first place,
Yeah.
and they just went with, "Oh, I don't like you. You raised me to fight. I didn't want that for my daughter." That was it.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
So instead of learning from your mom's mistakes, you basically kind of did the same thing,
Yeah,
just in a different way because you kept this from her until you just told her don't go into the ocean, and the only reason she even goes into the ocean because she's very much a I'm going to listen to my mom type of kid was because she was trying to save the boy that she had a crush on.
oh, I
That's the
mean,
only
you're right.
reason
You're
she went
right.
into the ocean. So, like, if
And I go ahead.
I was just going to say, if she had some knowledge on what would happen to her if she went into the ocean, granted, I think she still would have,
Right.
but she would have at least been prepared to deal with that
Right.
and not destroy the library.
Right. But because her mind, and of course she's the awkward teen, you can't have the
Oh, yeah.
non-awkward teen going through this. But you know what? Turner Red did do that. Like the main character Turner, even though I've not really seen the movie, she wasn't the awkward teen in hers.
No, she wasn't. She definitely had like that personality where she marched to the beat of her own drum.
Right. She
And
fully understood that.
yeah.
This one, like, she doesn't know, like, because they play that scene too, where now the popular kid likes her, and now she's ignoring her friends to be with the popular kid
Yeah.
who's a mermaid, and mermaids are evil in this movie. Like, oh, you know the premise of this movie. It should
Yeah.
have been more focused on krakens versus mermaids, and it would have made it a
Um
lot more interesting.
I did find it really funny that, this Kraken family, like, even though they look completely different from the people, they're just like, we're from Canada.
And
And,
they're
like, everyone's like, okay.
honestly, it probably would have been better to say, yeah, we're krakens, but you could like because there's
Yeah,
like a
right.
sailing.
That captain, he
Yeah,
wouldn't have.
he wouldn't have cared. But then, like, to convince him, all they did was slap him in the face and say, "We have to fight a mermaid," and then he was just okay with it.
Yeah,
So,
it was funny.
I mean, that scene was funny. There were some scenes in there with
Yeah,
some jokes that landed.
yeah.
Um, I really liked the dad. He was just super chill.
Okay, so the dad. So I would say there was some like pleasant surprises with the voice cast. So the dad was voiced by Coleman Domingo, and I know you don't know who that is,
Nope.
but he plays Victor Strand on Fear the Walking Dead.
Uh,
And once I realized that it was him, I could kind of tell, but I was impressed with his voice acting.
hmm.
I'd never
Yeah,
I'd never really experienced his voice acting.
yeah. Sometimes when they hire like normally people who act
Yeah.
in live action, they can't really voice act because they don't understand that to voice act you have to still move, you still have to get into that
Yeah.
role. But some of them don't believe you do and just kind of speak their lines.
Yeah, and like so it also had Toni Collette was the mom,
Ooh,
which I know you don't know who that
no,
is, but
no.
she's a pretty well known actress. And then Jane Fonda was grandmama.
Oh, I
You
thought that
know,
voice sounded really
yeah, I
familiar.
mean, it was definitely like if you know Jane Fonda's voice, it was very recognizable.
The '80s singer.
I mean, she's an actress. I don't remember if she did 80 songs, but um and then the other one that took me by surprise was what was the mermaid's name? Chelsea?
Yeah,
Was that her name?
yeah. And, oh, God, I wish they didn't go so predictable with that either, but we'll get to
Was voiced by Annie Murphy, which I know you don't know who that is
that.
by name, but she played the daughter in Schitt's Creek.
Oh, that was the show that you really liked.
I love Schitt's Creek.
Um, I mean, I'll get to the mermaid in a bit because I still want to talk about the family. Like the little brother, he's just the little brother.
Yeah,
There's
he's just kind of there.
and the dad is like the kind, caring dad rather than the stupid dad. The
Yeah,
stupid one is the uncle.
yeah.
Um, the grandma kind of annoyed me.
Grandmama.
It's like I didn't like they went predictable. There's nothing wrong with grandmama. She's pushy. She wants her way and nothing else, but nothing comes of that. Like
Yeah,
she kind of does get her way.
yeah,
Yeah, she like and that was my another problem I had with it was that I don't feel like Ruby got to choose her own way.
yeah.
She went her grandmother's way
Right.
and still gets to live the life that her mom gave her. I'm like, okay, which one's the one she wants? Like she's living both, but the movie for the longest made it seem
Yeah,
she
it's
doesn't want really either.
yeah, it's hard to tell if she's living what she really wants. Part of me thinks that she probably wants the best of both worlds,
Yeah, because
because she realizes all the things that she can do as the giant kraken.
right,
And you know, the whole premise of protecting the ocean
that's true, and
and seeing her friend, her whale friend.
yeah, I'm telling you, someone on that writing staff watches One Piece or reads One
I
Piece.
believe
That's
you.
and even the whale even looks like Labu's, minus the scars. And the whale in One Piece, Labu has scars on him because he keeps hitting his head on the red line because he wants to cross it, and he can't because the red line is a giant straight line continent that goes down the prime meridian of their world. And he can't get across it, but he wants to get to his own. We're not talking about One Piece. I'll tell you about that
Yeah,
later.
that's that would be a different podcast.
That's a whole different podcast. But oh god, what else was there? Oh, wait, just go over the villain Chelsea. The
The
obvious
mermaid.
like they made it obvious she was the
I mean,
villain,
you could tell from the previews that the mermaid wasn't the good
right?
person, which, like, you know, they kind of made fun of the whole mermaid trope,
Yeah, they did.
which was funny, but
They were clearly taking shots at Ariel.
they were clearly taking shots at Ariel, which I'm sure you don't mind because you hate the Little
I
Mermaid,
don't hate the Little
which
Mermaid.
we will really get into when we watch the live action Little
I
Mermaid.
don't hate the animated ones. It's not my
He
favorite.
does.
I
He
don't
does.
hate it.
He
You just
told
love
me
to
he
say that.
did.
I have
And it
never
broke my
once.
heart because it was my favorite
I
movie
have
as a kid.
never once told you I hated the Little Mermaid. You
Yeah,
just keep
you did
saying that.
once. You once said the word hate with it, and I won't let it go.
You won't let it go.
Nope,
Of course not.
I'm not Elsa.
Ah, I love you.
You knew I was
I
going
knew you were
there.
going there.
So basically, Chelsea, the mermaid. So the history of the mermaids and their krakens was basically the mermaids were the only creatures that were close to overtaking the krakens because of this trident.
Pretty much.
And
It was Ruby's mom,
yeah, Agatha,
who
who
got the trident from
from Narcissa, who
Narcissa.
was
That's his name.
who
The
was
queen of the
queen
mermaids.
of the mermaids.
And they don't actually tell you what they did with them. They just say the mermaids ran away. That's all they say.
Yeah.
Like Narcissa slash, like that's like the
But
big
base
reveal.
is
Chelsea
is
is.
Narcissa. And I mean Agatha doesn't when so Ruby eventually tells her mom, like, my friend Chelsea, she's a mermaid, but they're not bad. And her mom's like, oh shit, like, you don't realize how much trouble you're in.
Right.
And I guess Agatha didn't realize that Narcissa didn't have a daughter. But then when they
She go
meet
like
up with
with grandma.
Grandmama, Grandmama says Narcissa didn't have a daughter.
So pretty much letting you know.
Yeah, like, oh crap, like, this chick isn't who she says she is.
Right.
So basically, at that time, because Chelsea and Ruby were working together to try to get this trident, because Chelsea was like, it's going to unify us. Like, you're my new bestie.
Right.
See besties.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, oh, the popular because when the mermaid first shows up, or when Chelsea first shows up, she fixes a She didn't fix anything actually. What actually happened was that the guy that
Ruby, like,
Ruby likes, she accidentally with like a prom.
yeah,
Of course,
she was doing a
prom.
proposal
Yeah,
and shot him in the face with, like, a confetti cannon, and
he
he
fell in
fell
the ocean.
overboard.
That's why she jumped in the ocean, and she's not supposed to go in the ocean because she turns into a giant kraken when she does, and she ends up saving him. Just doesn't realize that she did it, and or does she realize that she did it? It doesn't make that clear. But
Yeah,
Chelsea
we don't.
takes.
Yeah, Chelsea takes credit for it. And because Ruby's that awkward teenager, she doesn't say anything about
No,
it. But so they're trying to work together to get this trident. And
because the plan makes sense if like they're going like, oh, if they have the trident, they can end the fighting between the mermaids and the krakens, and then Ruby can have her normal life because then she won't have to fight anything.
yeah, exactly. But so after, like, the last fight Ruby had with her mom,
Right.
she was more determined than ever and was able to get a hold of the trident. But as soon as she did, Chelsea revealed herself as Narcissa
Yeah.
and tried to take Ruby out.
Yeah, she actually stabbed Ruby.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I said, this movie has its scenes, and that's one of them. I didn't think they was actually going to show her getting stabbed.
Right. That was something that took me by surprise, but
Though it didn't really do
it
anything.
didn't really do anything. Ruby was fine.
Um, but yeah, that's because that's what also like she gets buried under rocks, and then the
Yeah.
uncle comes to tell her like, "Oh yeah, your mom left the ocean for you." And I'm like, "Oh God, no! I want her to leave the ocean because maybe they found out." I was really hoping that Chelsea was just the daughter of Narissa, and you find out, or Narcissa, and
Or
you find
whatever
out
it
that
is.
what actually happened is Narcissa and Agatha had the same idea to use the trident to to end the fighting, and something happened where Agatha and Narcissa had to fight, and hating that she had to take on her own friend and defeat her own friend, she left for that reason. No, no, she just left for Ruby so that Ruby didn't have to be a word. It was like, oh
Yeah.
and again, that just keeps coming up. Um, I like another thing I wish she did was tell her friends that she was the giant kraken. I get they had
Yeah.
that whole scene where they were showing that video from the crazy sailor guy's
Yeah.
point of
The
view.
video that went viral.
Yeah, that he's claiming the kraken was evil, and everyone was just taking that guy's word for it. But I really wish she would have just put her friends over. Like, look, I'm the Kraken.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not evil. I think it would. I just really hated that they went with the whole she's hanging out with the popular one and
Yeah.
ignoring her friends, and really nothing came of that either.
Yeah.
So that's like, don't do that if nothing's gonna come from it. But again, obviously aimed at younger children. There's nothing more complex than it needs to be.
Yeah, it is what it is. I
It
mean,
is.
they ended up feeding the mermaid.
Yeah, and they saw that they because the mermaid when she turned giant for some reason, um, it just the trident is magical
Yeah.
because it is. Anyway, when she turned giant and Ruby comes out of the water, she straight up says Ruby Gillman out loud, and then all her friends who are having prom on a boat
Yeah.
because they're at seaside. Like I'm not even going to say anything. Like they're in a seaside
Yeah.
town. That prom on a boat just probably sounds like something that is a normal thing for people who
Exactly.
live in somewhere like that. But hold on. Ooh, excuse me. I just ate dinner. um,
Yeah. A little late for that.
I love you.
I love you too.
Um, so when they overhear it, they're like, "Oh yeah, like, go Ruby. Of course we
Yeah.
support you. We're your best friends." I'm like, can y'all be mad at her a little bit? Because
Yeah.
she kind of started ignoring you guys, and I felt like she shouldn't. Like I get what she was trying to go through, but I felt like
And maybe she just had good friends that realized that she was being manipulated.
maybe. But I would have liked to see the friends more.
Yeah.
Like I would like to see the guy she had a crush on a little bit more because it felt like they were going to give him more personality than they did. But no, he's no different from Prince. Oh God, is it which one? What's the prince name from Cinderella? Is that just Charming? Is his name really? His name is just
Yeah.
Charming. No, no different from him, where they didn't really give him anything.
Okay. I mean, I think he
Okay, they
had a
gave him more.
little bit more than Prince
They gave
Charming.
him more than Prince Charming, but not on the level of the third Cinderella movie where he jumps out of a window.
Yeah.
but they,
I did like because the movie starts off where Ruby's trying to ask her mom to go to prom,
right?
and her mom says no because it's on a boat in the middle of the ocean. She did get to go to her prom,
She did.
and she asked Connor, the boy she had a crush on, to be her prom date. And in the beginning, like, she told her friends how, like, when they decided, well, we're not going to listen to your mom, we're going to go to prom anyways,
Right,
she wanted to ask Connor, and she helps tutor Connor in math, and she wanted to ask him in her awkward, nerdy way,
right.
and her friends talked her out of it. But when she asked him on at the prom, his response to her was in the nerdy way that she was going to ask him to begin with.
What I liked,
I
and
thought that was cute.
what I liked, and again, I wish they could focus more on this. Is she accidentally calls him Aldrabay, and he says he liked that name. He liked that. I'm like, clearly there's something there. Again, she's awkward. I can't say shit. And someone can flirt right in front of my face, and I wouldn't even think it's
Our
flirting.
first date was so awkward.
Yes, it
Like, we
was.
were very, like, we are two awkward people,
Yeah,
and we kind of have, like, that personality where we are very reserved until you get to know us.
right.
And then, we're our
No, no,
fun loving little social selves in our circle.
right.
So
So
we can relate.
I can relate. Yes, but I'm really sitting there like, he's okay with you calling him Bay. He's into you. And clearly, they're like in that beginning part before the confetti thing went off. They were trying to ask each other out, and they just couldn't do it because they
Yeah.
were both kind of awkward about it. And again, they set up the other characters to have more character and then do nothing with it because it's trying to be safe. It's not trying to be complex. It's not as long as most movies are today. It was only 90 minutes rather than like 120, 130 minutes or anything like that.
Yeah.
So understandable, but I kind of wish they gave it some more so some more.
Yeah.
And I think that reflected into the commercials. I think that's why the commercials weren't really convincing people to go see this movie. They didn't know what to advertise.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I don't regret watching it,
Right. I don't either.
but it's
Um
not one that like really pulls you into the story.
and like the advertisements kept trying to make it seem like the trailers and the commercials made it seem like it's some sort of superhero movie, and I really wish they didn't do that because that hurt it. That definitely hurt it. It's like no, like the whole training thing with her grandma is she's doing that without telling her grandma why she wants to train. And her
Yeah.
grandma thinks, oh, she wants to fight the mermaids, but no, it's to try to get that trident. That's why she keeps going through the training. Um, Again, interesting premise, but they don't really go as far as they should with it.
Yeah.
It's so just overall, it had potential, but they had rather played it safe,
Yeah.
and they did. So you could feel that Pixar heart that you feel in movies like Shrek, Puss in Boots.
You
Uh,
mean the DreamWorks heart?
I said Pixar, didn't I?
You sure did.
I
This
meant
wasn't
DreamWorks. This was
Disney.
not. This was not Disney. This was not Pixar. This was DreamWorks. But I started naming DreamWorks movies.
I
I didn't
know,
name a
that's
single
why
Pixar
I'm
movie.
like, yeah, I think you meant DreamWorks,
Yeah,
but
so it's got that DreamWorks heart. It's got that Puss in Boots heart. It got the another recent one was the Bad Guys though. That's based off of already a established story, so I'd never really count that among them
yeah.
because DreamWorks does things that are more original, and that was definitely not like that was still good, but it's based off something else.
Yeah.
But it's got that Shrek heart. It's got that heart, that core. They just trapped it in a bubble of safety,
Yeah.
trying to get people to watch it, and I just feel like that ruined it.
What would you rate it?
Definitely just a straight three. It is okay as okay can be. It's
Is
not.
it three what you gave Elemental?
Yeah, I feel they're both just okay movies.
Okay. I feel mean now.
What are you giving it?
I was gonna give it a two.
A two, really?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it.
Right.
And it'll definitely be one that I might rewatch just as a background thing when I need no mental stimulation.
Right. It definitely won't give you that.
But
But if you have younger kids, like
yeah,
especially younger girls, go ahead and toss this on. They'll enjoy it.
yeah,
It's a lot of the high school part of it is what small kids think high school is, but it's
yeah,
not that.
not.
Um, a lot of the action scenes are very like they're not very impactful,
No.
except for that stab. They don't like their hits
And
don't
even
feel
that
very
stab wasn't like, it's not like a stab you would see in Game of Thrones.
right. And like at one point, the mermaid got hit by an entire house. Like the mom grabs a house
Yeah,
and whacks her with it, but it still doesn't feel that impactful. So it's definitely not. If you're like one of those parents who, oh no, not the violence, this
yeah,
movie's still good for them.
yeah,
So yeah, small kids or just background noise, it's fine. Still sucks that it bombed so hard,
yeah.
but it's
It is what it is.
it is what it is. Are you ready to wrap this up, Mala?
Yep, I think so.
All right. Well, this was the nerd,
And this is the princess.
and you guys have a wonderful night.